Hey, everybody, it is Dr. Devin, and we are back with another episode of If They Knew. And today, in light of the Christmas spirit and an inspiration watching the Scrooge movie with my children, I got to thinking of this concept of the ghost of the past, the present, and the future. And a certain someone came to my heart, and she's joining us today. I'm going to introduce her in just a second, but I want to lay a little bit of foundation in that if we could all just open our hearts to be brave enough to reflect into our own wounds and our own past and celebrate ourselves and acknowledge everything that we've been through. And it's not about moving backwards, it's about moving forward. But sometimes the only way to really do that is to get honest about where we've been and heal some of those things that might shackle us in the past, so to speak. And who better to speak to that than someone whose message and sole purpose and life work has become in trauma work and generational healing. And it's a woman. I will introduce Miss Tristan Shaver here. As a woman I got to know in my practice, I know her as a mother and as a healing practitioner and professional, but I invited her here because I know the authenticity and the genuine place that she serves from. And it's real because she's lived it. So please welcome Miss Tristan. And in that, to those joining us, I would love for you to just kind of tell them who you are and what it is you do.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And that message right there is exactly what I do. I'm Tristan Shaver, and I am a master spiritual psychology coach. And I'm a mom of two girls, and I'm a wife for 10 years. We've been together for 13, going on 14 years. So I live on a farm with horses and chickens and dogs and all of that, and just raising this little family. And spiritual coaching wasn't actually ever my goal. It wasn't ever anywhere I was headed. I was happily serving in the medical field. But then I started working on me and my experience and trying to break through the stuff that I was going through within my mind and my feelings and my emotions and new anxieties that were coming up, and knowing more now some of the depressions and stuff that I was going through too. And my journey of doing that and breaking through, there was no turning back. I had to spread the message. So it was like, when I knew you were going to ask me, like, if they only knew, that's the whole reason I'm here. That's the whole reason that I'm doing any of this. It was never even a goal in my mind, but I just knew I had to move forward. There was just that divine push, and we had a lot of conversations before I made that jump, and that resistance to not living in my truth anymore. My truth had totally changed, and I had so much bigger things to be doing. And so here I am. This is what I'm doing, and loving every minute of it, sitting with women, going through that, being able to birth and see what comes out the other side of them actually really going back into trauma and those feelings and all of this stuff in there. Mm-hmm.
It's such brave and courageous work. And to highlight a few of the things that you said, it is called If They Knew, right? And it's because from a service mentality, we're all hungry to share our message. And it's like, man, if people just knew, their health would be better, their happiness would be brighter, and we just want to share. But there's also a haunting to it that's like for me at least, I would love to hear if this speaks to you, but where it's like, if I had known sooner, there's like there's purpose in the pain that I went through. But if there's, just a message that we can put out that puts some light into the dark. But for me, the if they knew is like, man, if I had known,
Yeah, I totally know. But on that and that is that we go through every single thing we go through for that birthing. Like, life has always been working for us, even if it's if we felt like a victim in the moment, or we felt like it wasn't working in our favor, like it got real hard. Life has always been lifing for our awakening and for the birth of our purpose. So I don't regret any of it. And yeah, oh my God, I could have avoided so much pain and so much self-criticism and so much like beating myself up, so much I could have avoided, but it wasn't meant to be avoided. And so I also look at that when I'm looking at other people's lives. There for a long time, when you do start this work, you want to be a savior. You want to save everybody from their experience. But through this work, and then through even moving so much deeper into spiritual practitioner, which I'm about to move through orals and be moving out of the spiritual practitioner stuff, is seeing the perfection in everybody's journey that they have to go through what they're going through until they're ready to move through it.
It's the butterfly effect, like to your point of, avoiding regret. How could we, right? If you change one thing, it would change all things. And it's a part of our becoming. And so I know we could go through this, and you said your truth changed, and then your life became about building, an alignment through, your home and your career and all of these things. I'm sure there's 1,000 things, right? If I'm like, we could literally probably be on this for hours, but the purpose of these episodes is to like pack it in with that one thing, that one little light bulb moment that somebody may need on the other side. So if you had to choose one, and I said, all right, Tristan, what's the one thing you wish the people out there knew when it comes to looking at the past and healing trauma and looking back through the generations? What's that one thing you wish people knew?
First of all, I wish and I want them to know, and I know they will know, who they are. And that's not knowing who they are in their authentic human form, right? Because we'll get there. Who they are. That this infinite creator that's created all of the universe, that's ever expanding, that is absolutely limitless, infinite, powerful, only wants to pour more good, love, joy, prosperity, perfect health through each of us as beautiful expressions of it. And we get out of the way, and we do get to go back into the past and let it not define us or create our future from the belief systems we created in those highly negative moments, right? But let us take the wisdom from it and let it teach us how powerful we are, and that oneness. That's what it comes down to once me and a client work together, is bringing it back to that oneness, and that understanding.
So many things. I mean, this is my love language. Oh, right. It's transformation station. I could swim in this all day long. The expecting miracles and remember who you are and the power within. But those are a lot of ideas, right? And so, and you got to have that idea, and you got to have that belief and leaning into that remembering. But how do you action it, right? So if we get nitty gritty and we go tactical here, to the mom who's overwhelmed in motherhood and life and marriage and career, to the person that's, in pain and in the storm right now, what are a few of those gifts that you can, unpack it a little bit further of how you live that?
Yeah. Definitely creating a daily spiritual practice. Life is always going to life. It will continue to life.
Can we make that a shirt?
Yeah,
let's right. Oh, girl, life's gonna life. That's so good, so true. Sorry, go ahead.
It is. No. Create a daily spiritual practice that you stick to, because we and one of those things being highly suggesting meditation, and you can do any sort of meditation, guided or breath work, but really start to try to transform into that silent meditation. Our soul needs that. We need to be able to completely surrender into that space of experiencing that oneness, experiencing that God presence within us. And just some tips around that: try to do it the same time every day. Try to do it in the same space. That way you're creating that momentum, you're creating that habit. Do breath work before. Wim Hof is a great way to settle into meditation because it'll actually kind of get you beyond those thoughts. Write down all of the things that are going on in your mind before you sit down in it so you can release it. When you think you just put it back in the files, it's still running. Same with all our belief systems, but we won't do that right now. And we need that for our nervous system regulation. We need the breath work. We need to be able to surrender into that oneness so that we have that experience moving forward into our day. So we remember who we are. Create a life purpose statement. I give this to every single client. I create it with them. We create affirmations and in their goals kind of how you want to experience each area of your life. So in relationships and love, I am in beautiful relationships. I'm supported, I'm loved, money and career, and they're as if they're right now. So you meditate with them, you start your day with that. So you remember what you're moving forward through the day with and what your goals are. Because first of all, we have to take responsibility how we are showing up in life and our own experience. Affirmative prayer, and I'm more than happy to allow a PDF guide through affirmative prayer to be distributed for the aid of that, because that is us switching our mindset. It's so important to drop into affirmative mind treatment when we start to become a victim of life. When we start to have life happen to us, we drop into that affirmative prayer to completely shift our mindset and our vibration. And observe your thoughts, observe what meanings you're actually putting on the experiences rather than it just being what it is. How are you making it prove your story? Right? Observe your thoughts, observe your words. How are you making yourself out to be when you talk about yourself to others?
Like Kelly Brogan shared at our 2022 big idea, she said we are our self-fulfilling prophecy. And so, we kind of, that's why sometimes life can feel like this loop. I mean, that's really the daily spiritual practice, the meditation. And I'm sure you shared a meditation with me, and I know you would, graciously share that out. So we'll put together some show notes for you guys. And a lot of this, work is, breaking through those subconscious and setting those intentions, and getting in the present for, when you're working with people and they're getting, into some of the nitty gritty of looking back and reflecting. And it's like, can be kind of scary to go there, especially when there's big traumas, sexual traumas, things that happened when they were young or in the family, or that might be happening in the here and now. What's one tactical, little tool we could put on their belt today when going into the darkness or the shadow or whatever you want, you prefer to call it?
I really highly suggest having support in the trauma work. Honestly, the process I use is the most powerful way I've ever seen to be able to actually go into it safely and actually come out of it enlightened. It's a whole process. But I think to know that you're safe now, right? This is the safest time to go ahead and go in it and just fully express what's there. And then, but I highly suggest having support to go into those traumas, to allow them to be released, create that space around the triggers and having less emotional attachment on it, getting them untagged from the DNA. Really is the most powerful thing I've ever done. And it was the secret that I was searching for, was this trauma work.
That just to reiterate that, you are safe now, and you are not alone, right? Like, if chances are, if you're listening now, it's not by accident. So it might be for you or for someone else that needs to hear it. So, please, by all means, share it with somebody that needs to hear it. But knowing, okay, I'm not alone. And it really can take a village, right? To be seen, because sometimes we can't see ourselves. A lot of times we're bumping into those old stories. And that's when, I can think about different times you came in for a physical adjustment, and there was like when the nervous system runs, and it's like, it just helps you ground back down. Or those like mentors, coaches, people that you choose to invite into that safety and say, can you hold space for me to navigate this road?
Yeah, and that's a huge one. Really knowing who you're sharing this with, because I know it might feel good to have somebody just really like validate and say, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But it's actually not helping you move through it. We need to be able to sit in that space and just hold each other without making it wrong, creating that victim mentality, but just, I know I know, and I see you, and I love you, and you're safe. So really pay attention to who you're sharing everything with too, because they also have a really big part in creating your experience.
And it can be an addiction, right? To go to some of those that enabling, and unhealthy. And so it is brave on all fronts. And there's always more to unpack here, guys. So I'm going to make sure that she connects to you. As you know, we've covered our bases here. We talked past, we talked about getting in the now. Now I want to close with a little bit of vision, because you have daughters, I have 5 kids. And so much of our let's jump off the cliff and get in the middle of this comes from understanding, if I don't do the work, I'm passing it on. And that's something you and I have held each other accountable to, of like, nope, some of this, probably not all of it, but some of this is going to stop here. And I want to help, pave the road. So if we cast a vision and, let's pretend that people everywhere start to brave this work and we're breaking chains. What do you see? What type of world could that be? What type of life could people begin to live?
The word that just comes is authentic. Like, everybody gets to be that individual and beautiful, authentic expression. Our children get to do that. We are not unconsciously passing on anything anymore. And there's just so much more love that's possible there. There's just so much more love that's possible for us to know who we are and be in alignment and in harmony with nature and with God. And it's so big.
It's so big.
It's so big. It's so big
And beautiful. It is limitless. And really, like Joe Dispenza says, we can't even fully put words to it because it's never been done. Right. So there's individual awakening, and then there's collective awakening. And that's where we're at. And what a time to be alive and get to be in the work and serving the work and just observing this rise that we're kind of all in. Right.
Absolutely.
It's the best. Now, how do people find you? Because this is not a one and done thing. It's not like, okay, here's the checklist. You check the boxes and then you're like, there's some layers like an onion, right? So how do people find you if you've been speaking their language and they think they need a little Tristan in their life?
I am lightly on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, tristanshaver.com. I do offer free 30-minute calls just so we can talk to each other, just so I can see you and you can experience me, and I can give you tips or whatever, or we move forward together, because that has to come from both sides, make sure that we're compatible and we can move forward into this wonderful journey. Amazing journey together.
And I love that, because it's like, I love this because you and I get to virtually connect. We get to align the stars of work and life, and because life's going to life and motherhood and all that. And we can use technology, but it's got to be a human connection experience. Right. And guys, you are in safe hands and safe space when you do this brave work with people like Tristan. And that's why I love this podcast, because someone out there has maybe heard of trauma work or seen the holistic psychologist or different people on social media, but it can all feel very far away and big and daunting. But this is a place that you can jump into a 30-minute call. You can check out her meditation. And, if your soul nudges you, listen. So Tristan, thank you for being with us today and for helping us navigate past, present, and future and all the gifts that come with it. So I adore you. ... Guys. I have a feeling you might be seeing her at the Big Idea in 2023 in some different ways, because you truly are, the light embodied in real life. So I love you and I honor you. So thank you for being here.
Oh, no, thank you so much. And you know how much I love you. And I love everything that you are doing and that you stand for. And such an honor to share this space with you. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah. Guys, if you need anything, truly, we are here. And all you got to do is reach out. So step one is reaching out. You are loved. You are prayed for. Onward we go. We'll see you next time.